with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good morning and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Hopefully you guys are all having a wonderful, wonderful, productive Monday. Man, it's Monday. Feels like it should be like a Friday right now. But it's Monday. It's time to get our info on, I guess. Because I'm not, we weren't on early this morning or anything like that. But, hopefully, guys, you had your coffee and all that as well. We got a lot to get into. There's a lot that's going on inside this courtroom. There's a lot that's gone on this morning, which is also very, very interesting. So we got to talk about all of it. Yes, Creep. I can't agree more. The Monday is Mondaying. I don't know about you guys, but today is todaying, okay? So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that reaction button. Also, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe here on my main channel right here on YouTube, The Pascal Show. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon, which is in the ticker down below going across. I'm on locals as well. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into some things. There's a lot going on. There's a whole lot of shaking going on. Let me just tell you that, okay? And I'm going to tell you this, too. My mornings are going to be pretty busy. So pretty much around this time is when I will be coming on and giving you guys updates in this particular trial for the next few days. Just like I said, it's a little busy over here in this neck of the woods, but I'm trying to give you guys the information and as much information as I can, okay? And as much updates as well. So the mornings, you won't see me on the mornings so much. You'll be seeing me around this time to give you guys at least as many updates in this trial as I can over the next couple days, okay? Like I said, very busy man right now. Lot of things going on in this neck of the woods, but nonetheless, we are keeping a very close watch on this trial. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we are talking about the Karmelo Anthony trial, and there's a lot of stuff going on, okay? Prosecution rest, all right? Prosecution rest their case on Saturday, and the defense was quick to get into the nitty-gritty, which was interesting because they tried, which apparently is standard, for defense to basically ask for the judge to basically say like this, to basically acquit him right then and there after prosecution presented their case. The defense said, we move for you guys for the judge to basically X this out, to just basically say that this is that they didn't have enough to show proof of wrongdoing, but the judge was quick to say that motion was denied. Now, we talked about that. Apparently, that's standard for every prosecutor or for every defense to do in a trial. And Karmelo Anthony's team tried to do that, and it did not work. It did not work out in their favor. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, a lot has happened. There were things that we talked about yesterday. We weren't able to finish the entire, not yesterday, Saturday. We weren't able to finish out the entire, testimony that was done on Sunday. So we are going to get into that a little bit going into what has happened and what has transpired in the courthouse all day today. And then, of course, we'll catch up to where they are now. Just so you know, I'm assuming they're about to wrap up their lunch break right now. So I just want to give you guys a fair heads up about that as well. Apparently, they had to do a sidebar with prosecution and defense before they went or as they were on their lunch break. So it may be extended, their lunch break. I don't know yet, but we have a lot of different sources to look at and go through and all that. So we're going to get straight into the nitty gritty here. Okay. So again, if you guys don't know what's going on, please let me know. I will also say that there is a large uptick of people, a lot of people showing up now. What did I say though? What did I say? I said it on Saturday. I was like, you know what? There's going to be an uptick of people. There's going to be an uptick. Streamers are going to be out there. There's going to be YouTubers out there. There's going to be a lot of people coming up to either capture the chaos outside of the courthouse or be a part of the chaos outside of the courthouse. Obviously, you guys already know this is a highly, very intense case, intense trial. Okay. This is a very intense case, very intense trial. And there's a lot of tension going on outside. You can cut it with a knife. It is really, really bad outside. Okay. And it's only going to get worse as time goes on. Here's the other thing too. You got to remember this became, obviously this was already a big case and big trial before they even walked into this trial, before they even walked into this courthouse. But since then, tensions continue to boil. Tension continues to rise outside of this courthouse. It is absolutely crazy. It is absolutely insane. We are going to be looking at some footage of that in a little while. But of course, we got to play catch up, okay? Because there's a lot of catching up to do from what happened Saturday at the end of the trial to where we are today. So we're going to get back into this, okay? So let's get into this, guys. So this is from Saturday, okay? Let me just move up a little bit because the defense prosecution did end up resting, all right, before they went over to the defense. And then it was the defense's chance to speak on everything that was going on. Okay, so let me just blaze through here really quick. All right, so state rests its case after calling 21 witnesses, just so you know. We talked about that already. All right, now they start to begin, defense starts to bring in other their witnesses as well. Okay, now we talked about Mike Howard bringing out the football coach, basically Karmelo's football coach. So we're going to continue on from that. Okay, so witness says visiting other team tents normal at track meets. So hold on real quick. Okay, Tina, thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Or thank you so much for being a member for the past 19 months. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And please consider supporting the channel by hitting that join button down below. But let's get into this, okay? A new defense witness took the stand. 18-year-old Frisco Centennial High School graduate who spent 4 years in the football program and 3 years running back alongside his fraternal twin brother. So he also has a twin brother, okay? I think that's interesting and could be a very interesting testimony. So the defense says, did you know Karmelo Anthony? What did you know him as? Witness says, yes, we called him Mello. Defense, how would you describe your relationship? He says, I'd say we were friends. We hung out. How's track different from a football game? There's way more people and you can walk around. Defense says a part of track is making friends. Would you agree with that? Did you have friends from other teams? Witness says yes. Did you spend time with other team tents? Witness says yes. Did you see other kids doing the same? Witness says yes, sir. Interesting. Defense says, did you ever have a problem doing that where you were told you shouldn't be doing that? Witness says no, sir. Would you sometimes sit down and have a conversation? Would you spend more time in the tent? Witness says, I'd spend some time. Interesting. Defense says, have you ever been in the memorial tent before? Witness says, yes. Was it say hi and leave, or spend time and hang out? He says, we'd spend time hanging out. Was it just you? Me and Karmelo. We both had friends at Memorial. How much time did you spend? About 10 minutes. Were there any problems with that? No. There's no need for a knife at a track meet, right? This is what the prosecutor asked the witness. So the witness says no. Prosecutor also, so the defense got done and the prosecution came up for cross, okay? So this is what they said real quick, repeating it again. There's no need for a knife at a track meet, right? The witness says, no, there's not. Prosecutor says, as far as you know, Frisco ISD's policy of not having a knife at a track meet has never been violated, right? Witness says, it hasn't. Moving on. Oh, this is a long one here. Witness describes friendly interaction before confrontation escalated under that tent where Austin Metcalf obviously lost his life. So a new defense witness, a 17-year-old male from Frisco Memorial High School, took the stand as testimony continued. Defense. This is all defense so far, so I'm just going to read it like that, okay? It was raining hard enough for people to be under the tent, right? Witness says yes. I want to talk about Melo coming to the tent. It was clear Eddie knew Melo. Yes. From Melo entering the tent and interacting with Eddie, it was clear they knew each other, right? Yes. Eddie called Karmelo over to the tent? Yes. Yes, sir. The interaction between Eddie and Melo was friendly. Yes, sir. After Eddie called him over, Melo sat down. Yes, sir. Or yes. For about 5 minutes, friendly talk. No one expressed a problem with Melo being there? No. Do you recall the first person to say to Melo, who are you? Witness says Hunter Metcalf. Interesting. Hunter's a big guy, right? You could say. At the time of the event, Austin was a little bigger. I'd say substantially bigger. Hold on real quick. Let me get this here really quick. V, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the super chat. New member here. Thank you so much for becoming a member as well. Thank you. Thank you. I sent a link explaining the defense law, but I'm not sure it went to the correct email. Let me know if it was received. I will take a look in just a little bit. Let me just crush this piece out real quick, okay? And I will take a look at it when I get some free time, all right? Because there's a lot of focusing on what the news has been putting out here for just a little bit, okay? But stay with me, and I'll have an answer for you in a little while. But moving on. At the end, repeating this again, at the end of the event, or at the time of the event, I'm sorry, Austin, you'd say, was a little bigger, right? I'd say substantially bigger. I believe you told the detective Hunter didn't tolerate being disrespected. Witness says yes. So Hunter tells Melo to leave. Witness says yes. Not Austin, but Hunter is the one to tell them to leave. Tell Melo to leave. Interesting. Witness says yes. This is also a teammate, a Austin Metcalf teammate, just so you know. Just a quick reminder. This is a male student from, well, actually, a student from Frisco Memorial High School, okay? Not, from what they're saying, not an athlete, but a student from Austin Metcalf's school. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Not from Karmelo's school. All right? So let me repeat that. So Hunter tells Melo to leave. Witness says yes. Melo said, no one has a problem with me being here besides you. Is that correct? Witness says yes. The defense says at some point, Austin and Hunter stand up. They had been seated this entire time. Yes. Defense says if you put Melo and Austin next to each other, Melo is smaller, you'd say? Witness says yes. Defense says Hunter started with a moderate tone and it got more aggressive. Witness says yes, sir. Hold on. Let's circle back here really quick. Let's circle back here really quick, okay? First off, they say, you'd say that he's, Austin's significantly bigger than Karmelo, right? Substantially bigger. I believe you told the detective Hunter didn't tolerate being disrespected. Yes. So Hunter tells Melo to leave, not Austin. Yes. Melo said, no one has a problem with me being here besides you. Witness says, yes. Defense says at some point, Austin and Hunter stand up. They had been seated? Witness says yes. Remember everything we've been hearing so far. We've been hearing about how Austin was up there talking to him, but Hunter was nowhere near the situation, or he'd be on the other side, down by the front of the tent. I guess down by the down near the track itself. You know what I mean? There's been all these different accounts, and now we're hearing something completely different. Okay, now you're hearing something completely different from another eyewitness saying, no, Hunter stood up. He's the first one to be like, what you doing here, bro? Austin's like, yeah, what are you doing here? They're both seated at that time. Then he's like, hey, who are you? What are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I'm Melo. What's up? This is a completely different story, y'all, from what we've been hearing so far. As far as the timeline, we're hearing a different timeline here. Now, I'm just stating the obvious. Okay? I know some people's panties are going to be all up in a bunch about me just reading what's on the screen right here, but I'm just trying to point the facts out here. This particular witness is giving us a completely different breakdown, which is interesting. We're not even fully done yet. Okay? So, moving on. So if you put Melo and Austin next to each other, Melo is smaller. The witness says yes. Hunter started with a moderate tone and it got aggressive. It got more aggressive. Witness says yes, sir. Hunter. Not Austin. Hunter. Witness, yes, sir. Defense, do you remember telling the detective, you need to move before I beat your A? Before I beat your A? Witness says, I don't recall saying that. Interesting. Hold up. Okay, cabron. Okay. Hold on, man, okay? Okay. So, you told the detective something else, cabron. That's interesting. Do you remember telling the detective, you need to move before I beat your ass? That's a massive big difference. A witness who just now is saying that it was Hunter that stood up and was like, yo, who are you? What are you doing, man? You need to leave the tent. Austin was like, yeah, you need to stand up. You know what I mean? Like, you need to leave. And this conversation, this little tete-a-tete of words, okay, was going on between Austin and Hunter and Karmelo, not Austin and Karmelo. This is very interesting. Hunter apparently, according to this witness, is involved. And everyone's like, oh, no. He was on the other side of the tent. It was just Austin and Karmelo having words, not according to this witness. Here's the other piece, and I hate to highlight that, but this is kind of important right there highlighted. The defense is saying, well, you don't remember, young man, you don't remember saying to the 5-0 that one of them said, you need to move before I beat your ass. And now he says, I don't recall saying that. But he did say it. Because this is all written down. So he did say that. Remember the other day on Saturday, the same situation happened. Another person said something, and it contradicted what he said at an hour after the crime happened. Like, here it is. I'm not saying whether or not Karmelo should walk or not. I ain't saying that. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm just stating facts. They said one thing right after Austin Metcalf lost his life. They said one thing then, and they're saying something completely different under oath. That is a big problem. Hence the reason why you're going to see the defense keep on going, well, excuse me, according to what you said on April 2nd, 2025, you said to Officer Krempke that X, Y, and Z, but now you're saying something different. You don't remember saying this, sir. I don't recall that. Well, it's written in paper. It's written in black and white. It's it's your own witness testimony. That's a problem, y'all. That's a big ass problem. Whether you like to hear that or not, whether you are team Karmelo or not, this is not good. And you got to remember, let me just say this really quick. This is some wild stuff. You got a guy who also, by the way, was caught red-handed, okay, which was a friend. I guess his name, that was Eddie. Eddie was acting like, we ain't friends. Psh, I don't know him like that. And then they were showing photos of him like chilling in the cut. Sir, excuse me, sir. Please pull up exhibit 6799. Yep, 6799A. Yes, that's the one. These 7 photos over a span of a couple years. In fact, there's one right here, sir. Yes, this one right here. That one has you on a double date with Karmelo and his girlfriend, and if I'm correct, yep, that's the other one too. You playing the guitar, smiling and chucking and jiving with Karmelo, just a little. And wait, that other one too. Yeah, Exhibit C. Yeah, you playing basketball with him. Excuse me, sir. You say you don't know him, but there's photos of y'all that actually show that you guys have a history together. So could you reiterate what you said? They pulled up receipts. The dude that he came up to under the tent, who he dapped up with, and he sat down and he's chopping it up with him. He takes the stand and he says, I don't know him. Pretty wild. Now, also the other thing I thought was kind of savage too is it's a friend of his. They were cool. They were cool at least. So he comes up, okay? He comes up, daps him up, he sits down, and they come, Hunter or Austin, either one. It's like, who are you? Why are you here? You need to leave our tent. And instead of Eddie being like, yo, man, he cool, man. He's my friend. He cool. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing, guys. Think about that for a second. Now, whether you believe Karmelo Anthony did this or not, I just think that things could have been squashed really fast if Eddie was to step in and just be like, yo, cool, he my friend. No, I know he's from another team, but he's cool. He's my friend. He's just saying what's up. And just keep it moving. But it didn't do it like that. You see what I'm saying? I'm just pointing out what's going on here. That is it, okay? But let us continue on with this testimony, okay? So again, right here, he's putting out things where we're hearing this witness say he done seen Hunter be the first one to speak up to Karmelo, and then Austin was a part of it. And they were both sitting down, both Austin and Hunter. And then eventually both Hunter and Austin stood up. That is a massive situation. That, it depends on what words are being said. But again, at first it was calm, and then Hunter became more agitated because he didn't like, according to this testimony, and these transcripts that, I know it's chicken scratch, But according to these transcripts that are being written out here, they're saying that Hunter does not like being disrespected like that at all. Just so you know. Let's continue on. So he says, do you remember telling that detective after the crime that one of them said, you need to move before I beat your ass? So he says, I don't recall saying that. Yeah, he did say it. It's written. It's put down in court, in police records. It's written. Okay, so he did say these things. All right, moving on. And no, the police would not go out of their way to put words in this young kid's mouth. Not at all. But moving on. In fact, they would just omit those words if they wanted Karmelo to win, or if they wanted Karmelo to be locked up. Okay, they would omit that information. But moving on. The defense approaches the witness with papers. The witness agrees that Austin said something like that or something similar about wanting to beat his A. Now, let me just be real. They said, sir, we have it in, you have recorded written testimony right here, sir, where you said to the 5-0 this. He says, I don't recall saying that. So they're like, okay, here's the paperwork. Here's the receipts, baby. You said it. These are the words. So he's like, well, okay, yeah, I said something like that. Come on, man. This is not good. Moving on. Defense continuing. Austin is standing up. But Karmelo's still seated, right? Witness. Yes. Defense. That's when Karmelo reached into his bag after Austin mentioned something about wanting to beat his ass, right? Witness says, yes. You understand that we are in we're in a weird situation. We're in a very weird situation here. You understand that, right? I want to make that abundantly clear. Not every testimony that we heard from prosecution was recorded by police. Not every single one. But there were witnesses in the last few days before prosecution rested that were contradicting what they said at the time of the crime. That's a big deal, though. Austin stands up. Melo was still seated. Then Melo reached in his bag after Austin mentioned about beating his ass. So the defense says Austin calls his bluff and says, I know you don't have anything in that bag. Witness says yes. For Austin to make his way to Melo, he has to move up 5 rows. So witness says yes. Defense says Austin takes a step or two and then they talk. And that continues. Him walking up, I'm assuming. Yes. All this time, as Austin is moving closer to Karmelo, Karmelo is seated in his bag. It was seated with his hand in his bag, like, don't come closer to me. Witness says, yes, sir. Karmelo says, as long as you don't touch me, we're cool. Or don't touch me. Yes. Defense said, you told the detective. Austin reached up and tapped Karmelo on the shoulder. Karmelo was still seated, though, right? Yes. There's a touch. And then there's a grab? Yes. Defense asks, he, Austin, grabbed with both hands. Witness says both of his hands were in motion. Defense, Austin is reaching for Karmelo, and at that point, Melo's hand comes out of the bag? Yes. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Things are getting thicker than a Snicker. The court paused for a 12-minute break. We're moving back in. Teen witness says Karmelo provoked confrontation. By the way, so far, that last witness that we just saw, that last testimony, is the only one so far that I've seen that shows self-defense. so far. That's the only one I've seen that has some semblance of self-defense. If he kept advancing up, right, and he put his hand in the back like, hey, back off. Yo, back the F off. And he kept moving up. Oh, boy. And you had two big old boys talking, not just one. You had two talking. I don't know, but it is very interesting, don't you think? Okay, let's continue. So teen witness says Karmelo Anthony provoked confrontation. Okay, after the break, the 17-year-old from the Frisco Memorial returned to the stand and said he called 911. The prosecution asked him to demonstrate the stabbing motion, then pressed him on who he believed was in the right. He says, I think, well, there it is. Now it's back to that. I think Karmelo was in the wrong, he said. When asked whether Karmelo Anthony provoked the confrontation, he answered yes. Interesting. The way it's drawn up down in that first, when he came up, defense was asking him questions. It sounded something different to me, but okay. So they adjourned until the following morning, or until today. All right? Just so you know, let's continue. So they come in, let's see, brings emotional testimony. Okay, we already know about that. Prosecution meets with parents before testimony resumes. So after a day after a day full of witnesses on Saturday, Karmelo Anthony's trial took a break on Sunday and scheduled for today. With a packed courtroom awaiting the judge and jury, prosecutors could be seen motioning for Austin Metcalf's family or parents to follow them outside the courtroom to have a private meeting. It's unclear what the meeting is about. Another student witness leads off testimony on Monday morning. The defense witness of the day is a 17-year-old student from Frisco Centennial High School who is a teammate of Karmelo's on the football and track teams. So let's get here. So Centennial track team did not have a tent, which I think is a very big deal. I really do. So the weather for April 2nd, 2025, track meet was raining. The witness testified that the Centennial track team was hanging out in the dugout of the adjacent baseball field while waiting to determine if there would be a rain delay. The team had to leave the dugout, but they didn't have a tent. At that point, the rain had mostly died down, and the team went out of the field to warm up, the witness said. The rain then started to pick back up again, and the team dispersed. The witness said that he saw Karmelo Anthony in the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent, which looked crowded underneath. Everything was completely normal, he said, until he heard a lot of yelling. I heard louder noises over there, and when I looked over there, people were facing the field. People weren't facing the field anymore. They were looking back. The witness said that he started walking towards the tent and saw arms go out and make contact with Karmelo. It got super loud, and people started standing up and were like, "What happened?" he said. What I saw was Austin pulling up his shirt, saying that he got stabbed. So, after seeing Austin Metcalf with the stab wound, witness said that he saw Karmelo Anthony lightly jogging to another part of the bleachers. So the defense says, "Did you see when he stopped?" Witness says he is crying, and there was a coach kind of comforting him. I'd say distraught is the best way to describe it. Did it look like a put on? Did it look like he was putting on an act? I'd say everything going on was very, very real. You could hear him crying. Yes, sir. I heard him crying. I told him, I guess he said, yes, sir. I heard him saying, I told him not to touch me. How was he when you say distraught? Yes, he was just very distraught. Prosecution presses witness on inconsistencies in his testimony. Interesting. Here we go again. On cross, a prosecutor confronted the witness over how his testimony did not line up to prior statements made to police and the prosecution. So prosecution says, you had a few things wrong when we talked. Is that right? Yes, sir. Your initial statement to police that you saw Karmelo Anthony surrounded had to be after the stabbing. Yes. You had a story in your head when we visited, correct? Yes, I did. And when you saw the video, your eyes were open to what actually happened. Is that right? Yes. My impression when we first met, you thought when you saw people surrounding Karmelo Anthony, it was before the actual stabbing, right? Yes, sir. That was actually after the stabbing. I couldn't really tell. When you and I met, you told me you thought it was before the stabbing. I thought it was as the stabbing was happening. So now you know you're wrong. Yes. Prosecutors then played surveillance video from the stadium that showed that the witness was not looking at the Memorial High School tent at the time of the actual stabbing. Ay, Chihuahua. Oh, boy. So he's like, I saw this, I saw that, I saw this too, but now we got footage of you not actually seeing what actually happened. We don't even see you looking in that general direction of when this chaos ensued. Sheesh. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Remember, yeah, it's becoming a hot mess. It's this whole thing's unraveling. You understand? Everything's spiraling out of control. Everything's really getting just nasty. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I saw everything. Are you sure you saw everything? Sir, we have surveillance footage showing you looking straight over here at the pole vaulters. Nowhere near that doggone tent. Sheesh. Frisco PD detective briefly testifies. So after a short break for the jury, the defense called its next witness, Frisco Police Detective Bo Riley. So Riley is on the Crimes Against Children unit and was called out the stadium on the day of the actual incident and interviewed some of the witnesses in the field house near the football field. Now, we've read a bunch of his reports. This is the reason why they're like, wait a second. This guy said one thing to that day, and he's saying something completely different now. Just like this kid, this Frisco, this Memorial High School student, okay, that was at the track sitting there saying, oh, I saw certain things, and this is what I saw, and I thought I saw this, and I thought I saw that, only to find out that he didn't see nothing at all, which is insane. Okay, and the fact that they got receipts like that is also just really insane. But one of the witnesses was a Memorial track athlete who knew Karmelo Anthony and talked to him under the tent. He reviewed the student's cell phone to check his camera roll, text messages, and Snapchat account. Riley called the search through his phone thorough. The defense attorney also had the officer to confirm that Anthony's knife was legal to carry in Texas and into stadiums. He had him confirm that knife was legal to carry in Texas and into stadiums. That's very interesting. Frisco High School track athlete testifies. So another 17-year-old from Frisco High School was who was at the incident as well. The witness said he was standing by the gates of the stadium and had a limited view of the commotion in the bleachers. Everybody was standing up. I saw somebody get pushed or get punched. I don't know which, he told the defense attorney. On cross, the prosecution had the witness admit he does not remember all of the details from that day and that his memories did not fully line up with the video evidence. So in other words, like, defense is like, we got this guy, and then like, oh, well, just so you know, as much as defense tries to bring up these witnesses, they're not authentic, they're not real, which is crazy. That's just crazy. But moving on, attorney's judge holds sidebar, like I was telling you guys about that before this lunch break. After the previous witness, the lawyers and judge held a sidebar discussion out of earshot from the jury and public in the courtroom. That was about 11:15. Then the judge called for a lunch break, and the trial will resume at 12:30. Obviously, we are an hour behind them right now. Okay, so let's see of these updates. Oh, snap. Their lunch break was extended to 1:15. Damn. So they must have just gotten back in the courthouse. Now, we got more. Don't worry. We got other people that have been reporting from inside the courthouse or the courtroom as well. So we're going to take a look at that. Excuse me. Now, I'm wondering if Karmelo is actually going to take the stand. I'm actually curious about that too. But we'll see about that, okay? But there is more, so we're going to take a look. We're going to kind of take a trip, go backwards a little bit, because there is somebody who's inside. This guy, JD Miles, apparently he's inside doing, coverage of all this too. So maybe he has a little bit more info, okay? He's also a CBS reporter, so this may be exactly the same thing that we read on CBS, and if it is, then we'll skip on. But this may be different, okay? So this says, first defense witness in Karmelo Anthony's murder trial on Monday is a 17-year-old Centennial High School student, okay? Football and track teammate of Karmelo Anthony's. And he says Karmelo was acting normal in the stadium when their team arrived and sat in the bleachers of the stadium. So the defense says, would you agree with me that at a football game, it's more of an our team versus our culture. Our team versus our team culture. I think it was like our team versus your team culture. The witness says, yes. No, sir. I'm sorry. What about track? Is it more social? He says, I would agree. What would you do to pass the time? Scroll on my phone, get food maybe? What about spending the time under other teams' tents? I don't think I've ever done it, but it never crossed my mind like that. Had you ever seen other kids who have done that? Witness says, I can't put my finger on a time when I noticed it. Witness testifies that the Centennial team was hanging out at the baseball dugout while waiting to determine if there was a rain delay in the start of the track meet. They had to leave and they didn't have a tent. He says they went out on the field to actually warm up. The defense continues. What happens once you go out to the field and start warming up? Witness says the rain had almost died down to a full stop, and it started to pick up again. He says the team dispersed and Karmelo headed towards the actual bleachers. Defense continues. What made you notice him in the bleachers? Witness says, I was just looking around and I just saw someone I recognized. He says he saw Karmelo under the actual Memorial High School tent and it looked crowded underneath it. So the defense continues. Describe what is happening. Witness says, everything looked completely normal. Defense, describe to the jury what you saw and what you thought. Witness says, I had looked up, and when I looked up, I heard a sound. I heard a sound a lot like yelling. I heard louder voices over there, and when I looked over there, people weren't facing the field anymore. They were looking back. Defense, do you remember telling the defense my teammate might be in trouble and maybe I needed to go help him? Witness says, yes, sir. I thought there could be something wrong. I wanted my teammates to see it too. Interesting. So that's one. More testimony from the first witness and cross-examination. So the defense says, what did you see when you first noticed something was wrong? Witness says, I saw the arms go out and I see arms and make contact with Karmelo. Defense. Can you see how much contact is being made with Melo? Witness says, no, sir. Was that concerning to you at any point? Yes. Or at that point? Yes, they said. You weren't sure this was a fight, but you were concerned it could be a fight. Witness says, yes, sir. I was running through all the possibilities of where this was, I guess, whether this was a friend or not, I guess. Moving on. It looks like a typo, but moving on. Defense. What did you think next? What did you think next? Maybe it's what did you see next or something like that? What happened next? But anyway, witness says it got super loud and people started standing up and were like, what happened? So you did not see the stab or the moments before that? No, I did not. Is Karmelo seated at this time? No, sir. What happened next? What I saw was Austin pulling up his shirt and saying that he got stabbed. Defense. Do you see Melo at some point? Did you see Melo at some point? What was he doing at this time? Kind of a light jog going to the right on the bleachers. Did you see him when he was stopped? Yeah, he was crying. And there was a coach kind of comforting him. I'd say distraught is the best way to describe it. Did it look like a put on? I'd say everything going on was very, very real. You could hear him crying. Yes, I heard him saying, yes, I heard him saying, I told him not to touch me. How was he? Was he distraught? Yeah, very distraught. You didn't see large parts of what happened under the tent. Is that fair to say? Yes, sir. Prosecution does their cross here. So, you had a few things wrong when we talked back in April. Is that right? When it says, yes, sir. Prosecution. Your initial statement to the police is that you saw Karmelo Anthony surrounded, so it had to be after the actual stabbing. Wouldn't you say? When it says yes. You had a story in your head when we first visited, correct? Yes. And when you saw the video your eyes were opened to what actually happened. Is that right? Yes. Prosecution. It's my impression when we first met you, you thought when you saw people surrounding Karmelo Anthony, it was actually before the actual stabbing. Yes, sir. That was actually after the stabbing, wouldn't you say? I couldn't really tell. Prosecution. When you and I met, you told me you thought it was before the stabbing. Yeah, I thought it was as the stabbing was actually happening. You know you're wrong, right? Yes, sir. So then, of course, prosecution showing the witness on the surveillance video from the stadium that revealed the witness was on the field, not looking at the Memorial High School tent at the time of the stabbing happening. Damn. Have you learned how your mind plays tricks on you? Yes, sir. You didn't have a knife on you though, too, right? No, sir. Have you ever been under another team's tent at all? No, sir. If you had been under another team's tent and then they asked you to leave, would you leave? Yes, sir. Redirect. Defense says, I think you describe people in a U shape around Karmelo, correct? Yes, sir. Let us continue on. That's crazy. Like I said, it's like, I think your mind is playing tricks on you. And I'm going to show you how your mind is playing tricks on you, because you said that there was a gathering around Karmelo before the actual stabbing, when in actuality, you might have seen the commotion around Karmelo after the actual stabbing. And here's the footage to show it, that shows that moment, because you weren't looking over there during that moment that Karmelo actually attacked Austin Metcalf. Go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage. And then they rolled it. And he's like, you see, you got it all wrong, right? Crazy. But let's continue on. There's more. Frisco police officer Bo Riley is the next witness for the defense in the crimes against children unit. He was called out to the stadium the day of the actual incident. He interviewed some of the witnesses in the field house, like we already know about before. One of the witnesses was a memorial track athlete who knew Karmelo Anthony, probably Eddie, and talked to him under the tent, most likely Eddie. He reviewed the cell phone of a student to check his camera roll and text messages and Snapchat account. The defense: did the examination take 30 to 40 minutes and, to try to find anything interesting or relevant? So he says, I would describe the consent-based search as being thorough. Defense attorney is getting the officer to confirm that the knife was legal to carry in Texas and into these stadiums. The defense says, it would surprise you if schools had policies against such things. Witness says, no, it would not. Or yeah, I think it's would it surprise you if schools had policies against such things? So he says, no, it would not. Witness is excused. Moving on. By the way, guys, I really appreciate it if you can hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do. Hit that like button down below, okay? Let's get it all the way up. Can we get to the 1K as I'm giving you guys these updates, please and thank you. Hit that like button, please and thank you. Hit that follow button if you're watching on these other platforms. Hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribe. Okay, but let's continue on. All right. So there's that. Then there's this here. Defense calls another witness, a 17-year-old Frisco high school student. So he was on the football team and on the track team. He was at the track meet on that fateful day, that tragic day. He was on the Frisco team. So, defense. How is the culture around track meet different from a football game? The witness says they're really social, so everybody would know each other, see each other, say hi, really social. Defense. Is that the only field? Is that only on the field? Only in the bleacher? How would you describe it? I mean, it's all over the place. Did you ever have other kids from other tents come over to your tent and just say hi? Yes, sir. It wouldn't hurt to say hi. Do you recall where you were at the stadium? Yes, I was by the gates. Did anything happen that you took particular notice of in the actual stands? Everybody was standing up, and I saw somebody get pushed or get punched. I don't know which. Is that under the memorial tent? Yes, sir. So it looked to you that it was just kind of under the tent. Yes, sir. Do you remember saying that it looked like somebody was trying to stop a fight? Yes. The person who got punched or hit, did they react in any way? I don't know. Did you see him, Karmelo, make a swing type motion? Yes, sir. What happened after that? I saw he did a swing motion down, and then I heard, oh my God, somebody just got stabbed, and people just started scattering. You got a very small snapshot of this. Is that fair? Yes, sir. So then I guess prosecution takes over. Is it fair to say you don't remember? Yes. A lot of what you said, you're kind of guessing right now. Would that be fair to think that? Yes, sir. Oh, man. Do you remember seeing the video I showed you? Yes, sir. It showed that you didn't see what you thought you saw, right? Yes, sir. Now, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. It's fair to say, after seeing the video, you didn't want to actually testify, right? You wanted to do the right thing. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that... Hold on. Repeating that again, my perfect cabrones. Hold on. Prosecution says, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but it's fair to say that after seeing the actual video, you didn't really want to testify anymore, right? We wanted to do the right thing. What in the Spike Lee does that mean? Okay? What in the Spike Lee does that mean? Moving on, though, that was weird. Okay, that was weird. Okay, that was a weird response. And what's also crazy is that prosecution had access to this witness as well. And as this witness is getting in, like he's seen a new video, he's seen the angle, he's seen the surveillance footage. You know what I mean? Do the right thing, y'all. Spike Lee, do the right thing. Come on, y'all. I mean, it is like classic cinema. Do the right thing. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. Spike Lee, do the right thing. Do the right thing and watch that movie if you don't know do the right thing. Damn. Moving on. Okay. Classic movie. Moving on. What in the hell? So prosecution had access to this witness, showed him the video, and now he's like, well, yeah, I don't remember anything. What? Like, this is not good. For defense, it's not good because they keep bringing people in, and prosecution's going, now we could say right now you don't know a damn thing now, witness. Now you could say you're making things up right now, right? You can say you just saw things. You think you saw something, but we just showed you the footage. You done seen the footage, son. Now you gonna tell me you saw everything that you saw in this video? Come on now, son. And these kids are like, yeah, no, you're right. I didn't see nothing. I just made it up. Yeah, I guess it was all in my head. I was just trying to do the right thing. We're just out here trying to do the right thing and testify. What? Oh my dear God. It's not, hey, if you were on the side of, wanting to Amistad Karmelo, give us a free, this is not helping right now. The defense is these kind of moments are crumbling. They're, you know what I mean? They're just, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it like that. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be like, okay, the defense came in with some power. Okay, though. Okay. But right now they're like, see, okay, we done with this witness, and then prosecution comes up and goes, so we could just see that this is, you just lying. You're just making things up. You just saw what you think you saw, right, son? Like, this is crazy. Moving on, though, the judge has ordered an unexpected and lengthy lunch break following sidebar discussions with attorneys over something private. This would be the point of the trial where the defendant would likely testify if they are going to. So, remember, they were supposed to be back in trial at around 12:30, and they pushed this to 1:15. Now, it is 1:47 p.m. Central Standard Time, their time, if I'm correct. Yikes. So, yeah. So there's that, guys. And this guy has not, shout out to this guy. I'm going to follow him really quick. This reporter who's just giving out the transcripts. This is like this version's inner city. It's like inner city press. Remember inner city press for the Diddy trial? Okay. Baby O and Astro Glide. This is that guy. He's doing all the transcripts. I found him like very early this morning. So I've been keeping an eye on all this. And this is absolutely insane. Ali, thank you so much for Ali. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ali. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the super chat. Speculation of a plea deal swirling. You never know. Cause right now, he's bringing in witnesses, and these witnesses and I'm not trying to be punny. I'm just saying they're not standing their ground. And I'm not trying to be punny at all or funny. I'm just saying they're not standing on their own 2 feet. They're not standing 10 toes down. Defense is bringing people in, and prosecution's like, yeah, no, son, you ain't got nothing. You weren't there. You didn't see nothing. You were there, but you weren't there. You understand, son? You're just making things up, right? Like that's not good. It's not good. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it like it is. It's not optically looking good right now for the defense. Sorry to say that. Okay, these witnesses are not. There is almost like they're not actually witnesses, and that's not good either, man. Let me see if there's any updates here. There's still no updates. And they were supposed to be back. They were supposed to be back at 1:15, yo. They were supposed to be back at 1:15. They were supposed to be back at 12:30. Then they were supposed to be back at 1:15. And I'm telling you right now, take a look. No updates from CBS right now. Zero. I'm wondering if they're like, we need a second with our client, and maybe they're like, hey, Karmelo, we need you to take the stand. No, I ain't taking. We need you to take the stand. We ain't got nothing else. You have got to take the stand, homie. Come on. We've talked about this. We've rehearsed. We've gone through this. You need to step up and take the stand. Yeah, it's 1:51 right now. Central Standard Time. Where this trial is. Yeah, I'll look. Okay, thank you. Messi DM me. Thank you so much. I'll look. Hold on. Grant me some grace, y'all. In fact, hold on. Before I do all of that stuff, let us see if there's any updates, because there are people like live streaming out there right now. I mean, it is absolutely, it's about to be, it's got to be a plea deal. It's got to be. It's got to be. Yikes. Hold on. Because we're literally seeing this kind of dismantle right before our eyes. But I'm telling you right now, my problem is that you have specific witnesses saying one thing. You got witnesses saying one thing, today or, over this trial, that they were saying completely different during the time that they were getting interviewed and interviewed by police after the crime, moments after the crime. So again, it's like, they doing this kid dirty like that? I mean, I don't know. Uno momento, por favor. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to pull up a few things just so I can take a little breather here real quick. Look up a few things. I was hoping to get some... Shoot, nobody talking about this for real, though. Wow. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, this is crazy. Hold on. I actually do have something. Hold on. Somebody sent this to me. I forgot who sent it to me, but apologies. Let us take a short gander at this real quick. Let's see. You missed the all in my head bar with the do the right thing. Yeah, no kidding, which was hilarious, by the way. Real Rebel, thank you so much. You got a point there. Oh, my Lord. It's all in my head. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot over and over again. Yeah, I forgot about that. But good call. Good call. That's a deep cut right there. Real talk. But let us take a look at this right quick. Okay. You know what? Left turn. But apparently I learned this. Useless knowledge, just so you know. But that song, that Nelly song with, was it whatever his name is? Tim McGraw? Apparently Tim McGraw was wasted recording that song. Absolutely wasted. Absolutely wasted. So wasted that he could barely sing. And he still recorded the song no matter what. Just wasted it off his ass. Useless knowledge. But I learned that from the source himself. From the man himself. Nelly, not McGraw. But that's interesting, right? If you listen to the song, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, he does sound drunk. You'll hear it, you'll be like, oh snap. Yeah, he's really drunk. He's really, really drunk. And they just kept it that way. Hilarious. But let me play this. I'm going to speed up the speed here really quick. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull up something here as we wait.
Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we're going to talk again about the Karmelo Anthony case. It seems to be capturing everyone's attention right now. We are going to do two things different than a lot of other content creators are doing, however. Number one, we are not going to give you our opinion as to the ultimate verdict here because, well, candidly, we're not getting live testimony. We're having to rely on third-person accounts. And secondly, wouldn't you want to wait for all the evidence to come in before you reach that conclusion? So we're not going to be doing that. The other thing we're going to be doing that no one else is doing is we're actually going to just take a look at the law. Yeah, we figured that why don't we take a look at what the jury will be instructed to, because at the end of the day, every trial is the application of an acceptable set of facts to the law, is it not? So today, let's spend a few minutes as we talk about what the law will say about the Karmelo.
Hold on real quick. Let me just get this really quick. Perfect Blackness, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Why aren't the full videos being shown? I'd like to know that too. Why is the prosecution being allowed to cherry pick the videos? This defense attorney is suspect. Fire him now. Here's the thing. First off, let me just say this. We don't know what's really going on inside that courthouse, in that courtroom. We don't. That's the one thing. This is the reason why I keep saying they must have cameras in these high profile, at least in these high profile cases at all times, so that the people can see exactly what's going on and we can get a better understanding of what actually is going on in those four walls. Between those four walls, because right now, all we're getting are what people are giving us. Even the news has a bias, right? So as soon as you have somebody, a content creator or something like that coming out of that room, you're hoping that you're getting an unbiased breakdown, but sometimes people could lie. I'm not saying that they are, but people could lie. People could make things up just so that they can feed a specific narrative to their actual listeners and to their audience, to their subscribers. And that's not good. This is the reason why I say it is so important to have video cameras on so you know exactly what's going on. Because there's been other information out here saying certain things like that. He said, do you mind if I sit here under the tent? I mean, there's people saying certain things and I want to know if those are actually true. I'm not calling anybody a liar at all. Not at all. I got better things to do than do that. But it does make you want to know what's really being said. What's being said during the testimonies and all that. To the point where somebody is actually saying, oh, yeah, he said, do you mind? Is it okay if I sit here? Dear sir, is it all right if I sit down here, love? Yes. Like, did he say that? Not in that way, but did he actually say that? Do you mind? Can I sit here? Thanks, bro. Man, this rain is crazy, right? Talking to a whole other person on the bleacher, right? Again, is it true or not? right? That's the problem. We're getting information from, there's certain articles here too that are saying like, defense implodes, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how do you know? You're not even, how do we know? And of course, people who have a hard bias on either side will just grab whatever's being said to appease their bias and to appease their narrative rather than just getting the facts. That's the reason why cameras need to be in the courtrooms at all times. That's it. But this judge decided not to do that. And I think that hurts this particular trial. Not hurts for Karmelo or for prosecution. I think it hurts for the court of public opinion and how volatile and how highly tense it is outside in these streets to begin with. They need to start putting cameras in the courtrooms, period. Just saying. But let us continue because, again, this one, people are going to hear things and they already have their bias. They're not hearing proof. They're not hearing facts. You see what I'm saying? They're not hearing the facts. That's the problem. They're just hearing what they're hearing. They're hearing one guy go, well, I saw it was 4 dudes that jumped him. Do we even have truth? Is that even truth? Is that even proof? Is there proof of that? We haven't even seen the footage, which is also ridiculous. Footage should have already been out. If they played it in that courtroom, they should have put it out for everybody to see as well. So we can see with our own 2 eyes and see the naked truth. But we're not seeing that either. You see what I'm saying? So then we're just relying on people who are saying, what I done saw was this. 4 dudes. Are we sure about that? Are we 110% sure? See what I'm saying? So that is a problem. That is a big problem. But we're going to see what happens here. Let's play. I'm going to play a little bit of this, okay? And it is sped up, so he's going to sound like he just did like 15 lines of yayo, okay? Let's just roll with me, okay? And Messi, if you sent something to me, I didn't get it, okay?
Carmelo Anthony case. Okay, America, we are going to be talking about the case that has captured everybody's attention this last week or so, and that, of course, is State of Texas v. Karmelo Anthony. The count is murder. The claim is self-defense. We are going to talk about 3 very important laws in which a jury will absolutely positively be instructed on at the end of this case. They are all found in Section 9 of the Texas Penal Code. We're going to be talking about Section 9.31. That is just the use of force in general. When can you use any kind of force in defense of yourself or others? The second one is going to be Section 9.32, which is the use of lethal force. And when is that justifiable in Texas? And of course, we do need to talk about lethal force because the force used was plunging a knife into another person's chest. So I don't care what state you're in, that constitutes lethal force. And then the third thing we're going to have to do is take a look at Texas law on provocation. In many other jurisdictions, it's actually called the first aggressor standard, but we're going to have to go over that instruction as well because that's going to be a big component of this case as well. Okay. In Section 9.31 of the Texas Penal Code, the ability to use any force, and I'm just talking about any force in general, only exists in Texas in the following situations. Except as provided in subsection B, a person is justified in using force against another when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to protect the actor against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force. Okay, and I want you to remember that except as provided for in subsection B because we're going to circle back on that. But in general, and this is not unique to Texas. This is just about every state operates this way.
Hold on real quick. I'm just going to read this off camera really quick. And also, I want to point this out. I'm hoping that it is not a situation of a plea deal. The reason why I say that is because they still have an opportunity to, 1, get through their witnesses, the defense, 2, to also have their closing arguments. Remember, if what he's saying, if this lawyer's what the lawyer's saying here is correct here that we're watching, then that means that it is the defense job to present to the jury, hey, here are the confines. He felt scared for his life. He felt like there was some sort of threat and he was protecting himself. Therefore, X, Y, and Z, self-defense, right? And I'm boiling it all the way down. I'm sure they're going to be explaining a whole lot more, but that's their job. So I don't know if it's just plea deal city, just because they've had a few witnesses step forward and it seems to have like come back to bite the defense in the ass. You see what I'm saying? They still have a slew of other people, I'm assuming, to step forward. I feel like they're trying to make or convince Karmelo to actually take the stand, but we'll see what happens. There is something I want to read off screen really quick, but real quick, this super chat here. Thank you so much. My grandson was in track. He always visited other teams. I'm Team Anthony. Bullies suck. So there's that. Okay, thank you so much for that. You can go to if it was okay for her son to go to these other tents. What's the problem with Karmelo doing it, right? But see, there's something here that I want to talk to you guys about here in a second too. All right, Warren, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Funny how the prosecution can find the one person who said they seen everything, but wasn't anywhere near the action, but the actual stabbing is supposedly too grainy to tell what's going on. Yep. I mean, again, supposedly, like I said, we hear, oh, it's clear as day. Some people are saying you could clearly see what's going on, and some others are like, it looks like humanoids, as Cody Thomas said from Court TV. He's like, it just looks like kind of like blobs. It's kind of hard to tell what is what, but you can tell. Like you from the storyline that we've heard, that this one is Austin and this other one is Karmelo. You see what I'm saying? So very, very interesting stuff. Okay. We're going to continue on. Let me just play a little bit more of this before I read what was just posted by JD Miles just a second ago.
We only get to use force in defense of ourselves, others, or property, so long as the force we use was 1, necessary, 2, reasonable, both subjectively and objectively, and finally, proportional. And it is this last element here that can be a very difficult hurdle for the Anthony defense team to overcome. Because if in fact the force we use has to be proportional to the force we're trying to repel, then typically we don't get to use lethal force unless we are encountered with imminent threat of lethal force being used against us. Section 9.32 of the Texas Penal Code specifically states, a person is justified in using deadly force against another, 1, if the actor would be justified in using force against the other under Section 9.31. So in general, you have to first have the lawful ability to use some type of force, and then you must prove, 2, when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the deadly force is immediately necessary, A, to protect the actor against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful deadly force, or B, to prevent the other's imminent commission of an aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, robbery, or aggravated robbery. There are some other justifications, but they require that you are being forcibly removed against your will from your home, your car, your place of business, things such as that. So unless you are encountered with the imminent threat of unlawful deadly force being used against you, or you have one of these very serious felonies right here being committed against you, the right to use lethal force is not available under Texas law. Now, if the allegations are that the victim, Mr. Metcalf, was attempting to use unlawful lethal force against Mr. Anthony, then his response with lethal force would be justified. Whether that evidence is going to come out remains to be seen, but there has been no allegations so far to support any claim of that nature. But you see, there are exceptions to both 9.31 and 9.32, where if these events occur, then the person is absolutely precluded from ever raising self-defense as an affirmative defense of their case. They literally forfeit the right of self-defense. And in both statutes, we find that there is an exception when the person did not provoke the person against whom the force was used. That's right. You cannot be the person who provoked the confrontation. In many states, this is called the first aggressor. In simple terms, you can't pick the fight and then later claim you were acting in self-defense. And in some states, like mine, for example, there's a jury instruction that says that if you provoke the confrontation, no matter how belligerent the response is from the other side, you cannot avail yourself of self-defense. But then, in Section 9.32, there are other exceptions written in...
AKA, don't start no ish, won't be no ish. But if you do start some ish, you're going to be in deep ish. Because you can't just suddenly go, oh, yeah, I was just trying to protect myself and stuff. You see? Nope. Can't do that. Tsunami, death, taxes. Karmelo is getting convicted, guilty. Okay. I mean, hey, that is your opinion, right? Man, this is just, let's hold on. Let me see this really quick. Oh, I already read that one. Thank you so much for that super chat as well. But moving on. Play a little bit more.
To when you can and cannot use deadly force. That is, are there instances in which you would forfeit the legal right to use lethal force? Yes, there is, because the statute specifically reads, a person who has the right to be present at the location where the deadly force is used, who has not provoked the person against whom the deadly force is used, and who is not engaged in criminal activity at the time the deadly force is used, is not required to retreat before using deadly force as described by this section. Which means if Mr. Anthony was not permitted to be in that location or was engaged in other types of criminal activity, such as trespassing, such as making harassing threats or anything of that, then he would not be able to avail himself of self-defense and certainly not able to avail himself of lethal force as used in self-defense. So this is what might be the uphill battle for the Anthony legal team, depending on how the testimony comes out.
And obviously we're seeing how the testimony is coming out. And right now, it's starting to crumble, which is not good, Tibbs, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Touch me and find out. He about to go in prison. We'll see, right? We'll see. Again, they came up. There was another story about allegedly Karmelo and Austin were kind of like doing some random pissing contest about their football teams and all that. Like apparently Karmelo eventually like responded basically like, well, y'all suck this year. Y'all were having a terrible year this past season. Y'all's season was terrible. Y'all a terrible team. You know what I mean? So apparently there was a lot more, allegedly, there was a lot more dialogue going on between Karmelo and Austin and potentially Hunter Metcalf. Again, Hunter was not in the courtroom. So it would be safe to say or to speculate that that the defense, at least the defense, was planning on having him come in and speak out, and do a testimony. But like I said, some weird is going on here. I don't know. Let me show you what I mean. This just got posted a few minutes ago. It says court was scheduled to resume at 12:30 with this whole trial. It's almost 2. It's already past 2 right now. Okay, and we're still waiting to go back into the courtroom with no explanation from the judge or attorneys who are inside. Lots of speculation from the court watchers that I won't go into, but as soon as we're allowed to go back inside, I will let everyone know what's behind this delay. So there's speculation of plea deals and all that, but right now we don't know anything. Okay? But there is speculation out there. Trust and believe. People have been saying, I'll just read this off screen, but somebody said, sounds like Karmelo has decided to beg for a plea deal. Yeah. Like I said, they don't know what the hell is going on. No one knows. So we got to wait, man. It's so crazy. Hold on, let me take a look at this.
So back to the...
Hold on real quick. Let's take a look at this.
So back to the Frisco track meet stabbing trial. Today is the first full day for the defense to present its side. The prosecution rested in a rare Saturday session. Chris Sadeghi is live at the Collin County Courthouse with the latest. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Kara, and the defense continues to call their witnesses. So far this morning, they've called up more of the track athletes who were there at the track meet to testify not only about what they saw, but also about the culture, the atmosphere at these track meets, the fact that it's not unusual for them to roam around the bleachers, be social, maybe even stay underneath another team's tent if they know someone. It remains to be seen if Karmelo Anthony will testify in his own defense. The first witness of the day that was called by the defense this morning was another teammate of Anthony's. He testified that Anthony seemed to be in a normal mood that morning and saw the commotion coming from the tent. The witness said when he looked, he saw Austin Metcalf extending his arms out to push Anthony, followed by Anthony jogging away. He described it as a light jog, and Metcalf pulling up his shirt to discover the stab wound. The witness said he saw Anthony very distraught later, crying that "I told him not to touch me." We're waiting to see if Anthony will be called to the stand and tell the jury in his own words why he claims he acted in self-defense. But our legal expert, Bree West, says there's always a risk because even if a defendant testifies the truth, prosecutors can still use the opportunity to their advantage.
There's only so much preparation that you can do. These are seasoned prosecutors. They are ready for this case. They've been preparing for a long time. And so do you want to subject your client? I mean, even if you're just, sort of stumbling over a word, a really strong prosecutor can turn that against you. And it has nothing to do with the truthfulness of what you're saying.
And Bree West is in the courtroom along with Jobin Ponecker, our reporter. They will have a breakdown of all the events in the courtroom throughout the day as they happen. And of course, again, the big one we're watching to see, will Karmelo Anthony take the stand to testify?
I am quite curious about that too. I'm not going to lie. Is he going to take the stand? I do not know. Let's see. Perfect Blackness, thank you so much. To say Karmelo's actions weren't proportional assumes he was confronted by one. Equal combatant. We don't know because the video hasn't been shown. Yeah, there's been videos that we've seen, or that we have not seen, I'm sorry, that none of us have seen except for that courtroom. And so I'm curious about that. And speaking of which, there is a video that I do want to share with y'all, and pull this up so you guys can see this too. I am quite curious about all this. Queen Sheba did a video. Also, Nika Knight did a video too. We're going to take a look at that as well. But the question everyone is asking, was there video? Questiones. I got a lot of them. Let's take a look and see what she got to say.
All right, y'all. So let me tell you in real time what's happening here. We are live outside the Collin County Courthouse. Unfortunately, I was not able to get in today. But, we're big girls and boys around here. We get back into the game. So as you can see, I am here. Let me tell you what's happening. The defense continues their direct with their witnesses that they brought to the stand. From what I'm being told by insiders, they are expected to possibly rest their case today, and there's a strong indication that closing arguments may begin.
Sorry, what's up with the duck? What, the duck? Did you hear that duck? No one else heard it? Was that Aflac? Aflac. Like, what was that? Cat eyes. Wait, Nika was crying. What was she crying about? Oh, my dear Lord. Oh, I didn't see it. I guess we're going to take a look at that when I get a second. Let's see this, though. That's terrible. Come on, leave that woman alone, man. Yeah, that was weird, right? You know what I mean? Some duck hunt. Well, that was weird. But let's continue, okay?
That's the first thing. The second thing is the defense did call to the witness stand the officer who confiscated Eddie's phone. Why is this important? Because during the incident between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, it is believed that the individual named Eddie may have instigated the fight, took out his phone to record the fight. However, on the witness stand, he testified that although he took out his phone and started to quote unquote record, he didn't really record. He was just pretending to record, to which the defense cross-examined him and said, "Now, why in the world would you take out your phone and pretend to record?" He says, "I don't know. I was just being stupid." So today, the witness that's on the stand is a very, very important witness because we all want to know, is there a clear video of the altercation between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf? Because this could be a key piece of evidence that strongly indicates who provoked the fight and who indeed was the aggressor, okay? According to the witness, the police officer, he took Eddie's phone with Eddie's consent. However, he doesn't recall seeing any video of the altercation. He glanced through the phone and took a look at the recently deleted and also the photos that Eddie had in his phone. So that's all I got.
This is so crazy. What in the possible corruption is going on here? Something weird going on, y'all. Something weird going on. Something weird going on. I'm gonna say it. Something weird's going on. Yeah, something weird's going on. But let me. Yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. Okay, hold on. This is jacked up.
All right.
Hold on, guys. Let me just make sure because I'm trying to. A lot of different things going on here. That's messed up. Okay. Nika Knight.
All right, y'all. So we are at our
Let me pause that really quick. Dom Adams, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. How does he not plea? Like, I guess take the plea deal. Karmelo is cooked. He could probably just get 25 years. He will now give their states sweat equity, like Sean Gathright. I don't know. Just plea. I don't know. We don't know what's going on, right? Whatever happens in there, happens in there. I don't know if he's doing a plea deal. I just don't think he would at this in this juncture, but he may. I don't know. Okay, but shout out to Nika Knight. Let's hear what she got to say really quick. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. You know what I mean?
lunch break. What was on you? Oh, you step in back because I don't have my mic.
Okay.
So we are at the lunch break. Basically, what happened was they did 3 witnesses, and then after they did 3 witnesses, they decided that it would be better to break at 11 so that the rest of the day flows smoothly. And they told us to come back at 12:30. When I came out, I was talking to JLR Reports. He was covering footage at the Diddy trial. Definitely go check that out. And I'll just get into the testimony that happened so far today. If you guys can't hear me, I'm gonna try to project my voice. As a witness from Centennial, he was a friend of Karmelo on the track team. And he is a 17-year-old. I can't give his name because he's a minor. But he said that he spoke to the detectives that day and he went to the same track meet at the same time. And when he went to the track meet at the same time, he said that he was like bouncing around between soccer and track. So he was kind of like all over the place. And then they wanted to know like if he was on JV and if Karmelo was on varsity. And anyways, I'm gonna try to not to pay attention. Thank y'all.
So there are people going out of their way to make her time bad over there, which is messed up. Warren, sounds like Eddie needs to be charged. Looks like a setup. It looks like it's giving me a different vibe with the Eddie situation. We'll talk about that here in a second. But again, it looks like the Black Panthers are Black Panther members are actually there protecting Neek right now. Because again, let me just say this, because I've been following her coverage and everything, and just checking what she's been talking about. Like yesterday, she did a live, like a 2-part live stream where she just talked about all the testimony that happened yesterday. And there's obviously been some sort of interaction or some bumping of heads with other people that are there. And what's really sad about it is that now they're like targeting her now, which is kind of messed up. And so I guess maybe that's what's going on out here. They're going up to her and trying to give her a hard time. Perfect Blackness. If the defense rests its case today, then yeah, the fix was in. You're not convincing me that Melo's attorney put up a credible defense. I mean, it doesn't sound like one right now. It doesn't sound like one right now. If they stop right now, absolutely, I agree 110%. They didn't even give this kid a fighting chance then. Remember, it's got to be a fair trial, right? To a certain extent, right? But they got to come with some stuff. They got to come in with the heat. They got to come in with the facts. You got prosecution going in there with their heat. Defense needs to do the same doggone thing. And if they don't, then it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But if they stop right now and they go, well, sorry, sir, Your Honor, that's all we have as far as witnesses. Oops, darn it. I'm going to be like, what the hell? What the hell is this? All that money raised to pay that lawyer to do this? Didn't even put up a fight? Didn't even put up a fight. And there's allegedly they're saying that the defense didn't even during the prosecution, he didn't say like, objection at all or anything of that sort. He just let it ride. You know what I'm saying? Like barely any of that, but again, that is opinions being said within the gallery. You see what I'm saying? Within the courtroom. But we're not in there. We can't see it for ourselves. See what I'm saying? Cameras, most important, right? So this is all very, very bad. All right. But let's hear what she got to say here. Like I said, they shouldn't be. They're back in court now, Mabel. I'll take a look and see if that's, and confirm that too. But nonetheless, leave the reporters freaking alone. Leave them alone. Okay. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. All right. If you're on the side of Austin, saying, justice for Austin, or if you're on the side of free Karmelo, leave these reporters alone. They're just there to report the news. They should not be the story. Okay. But let's continue.
So they wanted to know what mood Karmelo was in.
It's not. This is.
Yeah, you could tell. That's a damn shame. You could tell she's really bothered. You could tell she's very, very bothered. This is wrong. This is wrong, y'all.
She was crying into the TV, though.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not part of that. No, we're just interested in I'm like podcasts.
Okay, so he wanted to know basically like how was it that day? He wanted to know like what was the mood and everything like that. He said like when they first got there, they warmed up, and then after they warmed up, then they went to like this soccer dugout. So not the soccer dugout. They went to the dugout. Let me read where I was at.
Oh, this poor woman, she crying. She got tears coming down her eyes, down her face. I'm sorry. Man, leave these people alone, man. Leave these people alone. Miss Bria, I can't pull up the super chat, but I see it here. Thank you so much. At least one teen had to record. Yeah, that they do recording and at least one teen had on record. I'm saying sorry. That they did do some sort of record and post. Possibly Eddie set Karmelo up since he didn't say anything during the entire situation. Yeah, we gonna talk about that here in a second. Let me just let this young woman, okay, this young lady say her piece real quick, okay? Just a little spell, just a little morsel here. But yeah, you can see she got tears coming down her face and everything. It's just messed up, guys. Like, just because you don't agree with each other doesn't mean that you got to start harassing people. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right.
I'm good, Queen. Keep going.
Okay. I don't know. Y'all start moving around me in a circle, so I started. Okay.
Don't worry about them.
Okay. All right.
That pisses me off, y'all. That's not right.
Sorry, let me find my spot real quick. Oh, okay. So they wanted to know basically what was the culture and what was like the usual things that they would do at track. Like,
come on, Unc. What's up with the finger, Unc?
They wanted to know, like, if it was usual for a student to talk to other teams and if that was like out of the norm. They wanted to know, like, if they saw other students talk to people who were from other schools, and they said that what was the difference between the culture of like football and what was the difference between the culture of track. And so he said, like, with football, they kind of like start and it's like start to finish, but with track, there's so many different events going on that they have like a lot of downtime. They're able to talk to students and everything like that. The guy was just taking my photo. Okay, I'm just saying.
You got 1,000 people taking your picture right now.
Huh?
You got 1,000 people looking at your picture right now. You had 1,001. Yeah.
Okay, so he said so it was like 2 to 3 of them, and they were going to the like baseball dugout. And then while they were at the baseball dugout, they were basically trying to hide out from the rain because it had started raining and they were trying to get away from the rain. So when the baseball coach came out and told them that they didn't have to, that they had to go from being there, he decided to walk somewhere else. And they went back to the field. It said that Coach Wooten told them to go warm up. He said the weather was rolling in. It looked like a big storm was coming. They go put their spikes on and start to warm up with a bunch of people, including Melo. He said he was on the 4x100 team on the field, and the rain had started to die down, and then it had started to pick up again. While they were out there, then Melo heads to the bleachers, saw him later on in the bleachers. So basically he was kind of like setting up the stage where he said that he was on the field and then...
You know what's really frustrating about this is that you could tell she's trying to yell over people who are yelling at her right now as we speak. You see what I'm saying? This is wrong, okay? Leave this talented young woman alone, okay? Real talk. Marsha, thank you so much for the love. My husband had been a track coach for 20 years. Under no circumstances are outsiders permitted under team tents. Prevents discord like this. Interesting. Okay. I mean, there may be policies that were instilled, okay? That in certain schools have certain policies, right? So maybe the Centennial School has a different policy than the Memorial High School does. You see what I'm saying? So this is very interesting. Really quick, we're coming back to this because I want to see a little bit more of this. But please, guys, go to Neek at Night, okay? Because she's been coming in with that fire, okay? She's been coming in with some really great reporting. There's been a lot of really great reporting from a lot of other content creators as well. But she is one I've been following and just hearing what's been going on, okay? Just want to make that abundantly clear. But let me just get to over here real quick because there are some updates, okay? Well, one thing's for sure. CBS is saying this. It's saying that the trial just got back underway at 2:19. That's crazy, right? 3 hours after being excused from a lunch break that was supposed to end at 12:30. So what the F is going on, right? I'm curious. Jacqueline, thank you so much for the love. If the roles were reversed, cities would have been burned down. Also, by now, people have their minds made up either way. Price of no cameras in the courtroom. Absolutely. I agree with the last part for sure. I don't know if the cities would have burned down if maybe not. I don't know. I don't know, but we've seen situations where it has gotten volatile like that for sure. That's without question. Okay. But I don't know. We'll see. Let's go over to JD Miles. He says, breaking, defense has rested. What? What? Oh my God. What? 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 Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Wow. Wow. Like I'm doing Flavor Flav, okay? Flavor of Love. Wow. Like wow. Stop. 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 You're lying. Oh, he's cooked. Yeah, it's a wrap. He's cooked. Whether you like it or not, he's cooked. I'm sorry, guys. Don't blame me. Don't blame me, cabrones. Do not blame me. Oh my God. What? What? Okay, hold on. Let's read this crap. Okay, so breaking, the defense is rested in the Karmelo Anthony murder trial. That's it. They just brought in 6. They just brought in 6. They basically brought in 5 witnesses and 1 cop. And that it. Come on. Prosecution came in with 21. No, not 21 Savage. 21. 21 witnesses. 21 testimonies. Stop. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. This is so freaking stupid. Okay, so they're resting for the day. They done. They done, actually. They done. They brought in their witness. They done. They done. Okay? So the jury is being dismissed for the day. So it's a wrap. It's a wrap for it. It's a wrap today. Okay? It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Being called back tomorrow for closing arguments from both sides before they deliberate. We're back in the courtroom, and we are back in the courtroom, and should have an explanation for the delay at any moment. Wow. No appeal, not at all. Yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be an appeal. Watch, there's gonna be an appeal. Nope, no appeal. Just closing arguments. This wrapped up quick. By the way, it's the 8th. Tomorrow be the 9th. The 9th of June. They had till the 12th, y'all. What happened? Now I want to know what the happened here. What happened? What really happened here, y'all? Think about that for a second. Because they had a whole plan. They had a whole plan, I'm sure. Did it implode? Did their witnesses suddenly back out of nowhere? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant plea deal, not appeal. I'm sorry, plea deal. I meant a plea deal. Yeah, there may be an appeal later. Yes, there will. I meant a plea deal. I apologize. They said, yeah, this is going to be a plea deal. No plea deal. They're going into their closing statements and hoping for a miracle. Not one black jury in that jury pool. And then yes, there will definitely be an appeal. Oh, you think that they're not going to do an appeal? That'd be insane if you think that they're not. They will do an appeal, but there's no plea deal for show. Plea deal option is gone. That would have already been happened, and it's not happening now. The defense rests. Yikes. Where's that? Soy. Thank you so much. His family should have spent the $600,000 better. Yeah, you ain't wrong with that. I'm sorry. I even said it. I'm like, wait a second. You raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, several $100,000, and now all that was to that lawyer? And that lawyer came up and was like, yeah. Oh, get ready. This gonna be fire. And then and it's like, that's it? Something must have happened, y'all. Something must have happened. Something must have happened. But hold on. That is just insane. Hold up. That is just insane. I know JLR Investigates is out there covering the live. Hold on. Oh, hamburger. Let's say, I'm trying to see if there's. Yeah, let me see this live coverage here. JLR. Because he's been covering this quite a bit. Let's see what's going on. That's insane.
All right, it's starting to go a little wild out here. Cars. All right, defense rests.
Make it entrance, huh?
Okay. Nothing go. I mean, I'll take a look at. I'll come back to that in a little while, if there's something to come back to. I'm trying to see if there's any updates from other places, because I'm sorry, this is shocking. I'm absolutely shocked right now. For there to be for them to just say the defense rests after that is, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, it doesn't matter what side. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you were on. It does not matter what side of the fence you were on. This is just wild. Visa said you can accept a plea deal almost any time before a verdict is reached. That's good to know, even during trial or while the jury is deliberating. So you could literally go, okay, never mind. Let's take that plea deal. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what's going on. But this is, I'm sorry. I keep saying this. I'm sorry for saying it over and over and over again, like a broken record, but I'm going to keep it a bean. I'm just shocked. I'm really, 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 really shocked right now. Okay. I'm shocked. I didn't expect it to go down this way, in this fashion. But hold on. Let's take a look at this. It's from Fox, but let's take a look.
Hi, Martha. At any moment, we are expecting some sort of update. That's because these jurors were let out on a lunch break. When they came back, there was a delay for more than an hour where they didn't let the jurors and reporters back in the courtroom. Reporters outside the courtroom said they saw prosecutors go in and out, and Austin Metcalf's mother and father also go inside the courtroom. Just a few minutes ago, jurors and reporters were allowed back in. Refreshing my phone here, we have our producer also all on standby, waiting to find out what this delay was all about. But Anthony is charged with murder after admitting to stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the chest during a high school track meet last year. Investigators say the confrontation started after Anthony was sitting under a tent belonging to Metcalf's team. Witnesses testified that Metcalf repeatedly asked him to leave. One witness said that Anthony was asked to leave about 15 times. So far, the defense has called up 6 witnesses, including one teen who said this during cross-examination, quote, "I think Karmelo was in the wrong." Prosecutors asked, did Karmelo Anthony provoke the confrontation? He answered yes. And on the prosecution side, jurors heard from more than a dozen student witnesses who described Anthony as the aggressor, including an 18-year-old student athlete. This was important testimony because he knew both Anthony and Metcalf and even previously hung out with Anthony. He testified, quote, "Anthony said, 'You will have to move me.' Austin put his hands on his back. I saw Karmelo's hand go in the backpack. We're at a track meet. I wouldn't expect anything to be in there. Karmelo said, 'Touch me. You'll have to move me,' and find out, trying to provoke me again." We are just waiting to find out what that delay is. As soon as we have that answer, we will bring it to you, Martha.
All right, Brooke, thank you very much. Let's bring in Josh Ritter, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and Fox News.
I mean, you know, again, let me just grab this super chat. Perfect Blackness, thank you so much. So the fix is all the way in. Melo had no choice. I mean, I don't know. I'm side-eyeing his defense team now. Like, real talk. I'm side-eyeing the hell out of his defense team because this kid didn't even have a fighting. Like, he didn't even have a fight. He didn't have a dog in the fight, it seems like. I mean, let's be real. Cut out all the bias. Cut out all the opinions. Cut out the fact that he's black, taking the life of a white kid. Okay, a black kid taking the life of a white kid. Okay, let's just put those all off to the side really, really quick. All right, and just look at the facts and look at this at somebody who is allowed and has the right as an American for a fair trial. He didn't even get that fair trial. I'll just say, whether I think he's guilty or not, he still did not get a fair trial. This is just crazy. Okay. Ain't never seen something like this before. Okay? My client, Karmelo, he's innocent. It's not about race. We understand. But we're going to bring in some people and present the fact that it was self-defense. And then they show the people that they bring in, oh, no, never mind. Well, we ain't got nothing. The defense rests. What? What? Not even a dog in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Remember when Mike Tyson was like Mike Tyson? Remember those days? You already knew who was going to win. He's just like, I put all my money on this dude. You know what I mean? You bring in the guy like the next white hype. You know what I mean? Michael Shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? Bagpipes and everything as he's walking into the ring against Mike Tyson. And you're like, well, maybe he has a chance in the fight. Ding, ding. 3 seconds in, his whole face is shattered. And who's on the ground and who's standing victorious over Mike Tyson? That's kind of what we saw here. Like, you're like, oh, not even one lick. Did he at least did he at least hit him? No, sir, he did not. What? You know what I'm saying? He didn't even have a chance, son. This is crazy. Wow. Soy, thank you so much. His family, talking about how they love him. They raised him right. Hold on, let me get this up. Don't spend a dime to protect him. His family raised him wrong. The proof is there. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a strong statement. That's a very strong statement. I feel like this is a situation, no matter what, we already know for a fact that he did take this kid's life. Let's keep it real. He did take this kid's life. He even admitted to taking his life. So you have to look at that. He took accountability for what he did. It's not like he just tried to run away and try to make it seem like he didn't, like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing at all. You know what I mean? He did say, I did it. But he says, I did this out of self-defense because I was scared for my life. I felt threatened. I was protecting myself. Okay? So we got to remember that. Parents raised him to take accountability for things that he's done. Let's be real. He took accountability. He did. He said, I'm not alleged. I did it. But I was protecting myself. I told him not to touch me. He took accountability. Okay? But Pascal, thank you so much, Messi. Pascal, it's really no different than pig vomit. Sometimes you're just guilty. It's hard to have a fair trial when evidence shows you're just guilty. No, you ain't wrong with that. You ain't wrong with that for sure. But at the same time, as a spectator, as a person standing on the side, watching this, watching this whole thing unfold, you're like, dang, you didn't bring nothing to the game, nothing to the fight. You were just hoping for a miracle or something? This is bad. His attorney, Mike Howard took over the case after Anthony's original legal team. This is his second team. Sheesh. Sheesh, indeed. Like I said, it just feels like they didn't fight for him. That's all. Just feels like they didn't fight for him. That's all. Like I said, you want a fair and even trial, especially with something so highly controversial. You're just hoping that there'll be something more. But this is how the cookie crumbles. This is how it is. You know? Maybe they thought that those witnesses were going to be enough. And they clearly were not, right? But I digress. I'm trying to see if there's interviews going on. Hold on. And I do want to go back to a little bit of what Neek at Night was talking about. Sorry. Don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. That's just so crazy. This is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, straight up shocking. Okay. Mrs. Sparkle, thank you so much. This is not a fair trial at all. Guess this is how it goes in a small town America. Thank you for being fair and people leave Neek alone. I agree 110% with that. Leave her alone. And of course, yeah, I'm trying to be fair just like everybody else. I just, it's like you want the evidence to prove itself. Do you want that evidence to present itself to show the narrative that their argument? You want it to show that, hey, this was self-defense. How was it self-defense? Let me break it down to you. We're going to bring down this expert. We're going to bring this eyewitness. We're going to show a different angle of the footage if they actually have another angle of the footage. You see what I'm saying? Which is still strange to me that there's no other angles of the footage. There's got to be other angles, guys. There's got to be other angles. Okay? Jocelyn, thank you so much for the love. Jacqueline, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the love. He could have taken the stand if he wanted. He could have. See what I'm saying? He could have taken the stand and we could have heard his side of the mother-loving story. This would have been the perfect time for him to testify. This would have been the perfect opportunity. If his witnesses are falling apart like this, the perfect opportunity would have been him coming in and just talking. It could blow up in his face. You never know. That could blow up in his face. But at least he would have tried. But they didn't let him take the stand, or he didn't want to take the stand. Either way, sheesh. Ain't that about to shut your mouth? Shocking, guys. Shocking. Okay. There are interviews and stuff going on here, outside of the courthouse. I'm trying to see if there's any other live streams going on elsewhere. But I am only finding it in one spot and one spot only. So we are going to take a look. JLR. Let's take a look. This is just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Hold on. Lady Lou. Lady Lou, thank you so much. Unfortunately, his fate was sealed when he walked into the courtroom as a black man. I'm sorry. It's just the world we live in. Just awful. Yeah. This is just, like I said, this is just, I'm sorry, guys. I'm shocked. Very shocking turn of events. Very much a shocking turn of events. Let me see what's going on here. Scrolling back a tiny bit.
Never want to play the
Yeah,
game,
it's
right? You never
hard.
want
It's hard to predict how long the jury is.
Y'all looking like world news over there.
Real.
Rebecca. Hey, are you in expert?
Like, he's the only one that's live streaming something right now. He's the only one, JLR, that's live streaming anything right now with this. But let me see. Let me see if I can find more coverage. But yeah, it's there are only a few people that are, he's the only one right now that is doing live coverage. Yeah, there's nowhere else, man. Crazy. This is just crazy. Yeah, he's the only place that's doing he's the only one that's doing live down there that I see. Unless you guys know of anybody else. No, I'm saying like that he's down there and doing live coverage of the actual, like, the commotion going on outside of the courthouse. So let's just take a look and see what's going on. This is just crazy stuff, y'all.
Today versus seeing the video and that being different. And they really just sort of offered a little bit more of a humanistic, this is, you know, it was a chaotic scene. Nobody knew what was going on. I was looking forward. I was looking back. I'm not really sure. You know what I mean? And so they were just very much sort of being very genuine, I think, in their absolute, you know, sort of communication of what happened that day. And I think that that came across to the jury, where they were sort of understanding that this scene, there was no way to know what was going on. And I think that ultimately that's going to fare very well for the jury.
So, we were supposed to come back on March 12:30, but they did not call anyone back in until 2:30. We saw a lot of commotion. We saw the family go in. We saw Karmelo Anthony's mom go in. We saw the dad go in. We saw the work team come out. What do you think was happening? Because at the end of the day, we didn't hear from Karmelo and we didn't hear from him.
So I think we had a lot. I mean, we can expect.
You know what? You know what I'm concerned about is that, you know, here's the thing. There's a lot of concerns I have about there being a fair. Well, okay. First off, we had this trial. We just watched everything, right? We just saw everything that go down. The people that he brought in. See, the thing is I'd like to know a little bit more about what was going on with the witnesses that he had coming in. Did the list of witnesses decide to suddenly not show up? You see what I'm saying? Did something happen where they said, nah, never mind? You know, while this trial was happening. Kind of like what happened with Diddy. Prosecution was like, we have so many people, we're ready to go. We got 29 people coming in. Actually, like 3 of them left. 26 people now. Actually, 3 more people left. 23 individuals now are ready to go. You see what I'm saying? Like, it does make you wonder what actually happened with the defense. Did something happen behind closed doors that we don't know about? That the other witnesses were willing to come in and then suddenly out of nowhere they decided not to? Or here's the other thing. Why didn't they bring in Hunter Metcalf? Why didn't they have him come in and testify? Why wasn't he a part of it? He's the only other person out of this whole thing that could say anything about his telling, like him telling his side of certain things. It's weird. I find it weird. Let's see. Jacqueline, thank you so much. Sorry. From watching many trials, definitely lawyers usually advise against taking stand when evidence is pointing at their client, and testifying could make it worse. I mean, yeah, you got a point. You definitely have a point. Perfect Blackness said, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. The black man has quote unquote no rights, which the white man was bound to respect. Chief Justice Roger Taney, 1857 Dred Scott versus Sanford decision. The human right to self-defense is reserved for white men only. Oh, interesting. Interesting statement. Interesting statement. I will say this, okay? If they're able to show without a doubt that he was worried, he was scared, he was protecting himself, it was self-defense, then you never know. Maybe the jury will think a different thing. You never know. As much as we're looking at how the defense just suddenly just stopped, right? The defense has suddenly said, oh, we rest. What? Right? We're all shook about that. Even the ones who are like, oh yeah, justice for Austin, whatever it may be, we're all still like, what? That was a left turn like I've never seen before, right? But one thing is for sure, okay? The defense or the jury could literally sit there and go, nope, he was protecting himself. That was self-defense. You never know. They may watch all that and go, wait a second, or see all of those witnesses and go, I mean, he's a small guy. You got two big old boys. You got a whole bunch of other kids that are in there. Sounds like they were all talking smack at each other. And it could have been all calm, but they're throwing disses at each other. You know what I mean? Throwing little, insults here and there. And then things suddenly just escalated, And there was a moment, somebody else, according to other reports of testimony, somebody else was like, man, come on, man, you from Frisco. You ain't got nothing in there. Like almost as if in my mind, the way I saw it is like he ain't hood enough. Like you ain't street. You ain't got nothing in that bag. Come on now. You from Frisco, bro. Like you got something in there. Okay, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And it's kind of like he's like, you think I ain't hard? You think I ain't street? You think I ain't? Come on now. You feel me? I don't know. But Queen, thank you so much for the love. That's not self-defense, bro. I got into, where did it go? I got into many fights in school. Never once I thought to stab someone. I get it. I mean, you never know. I don't know where you grew up or what decade you grew up in. You never know. Some people feel like they have to have that, especially people who are young. Who are smaller in stature, etc. Maybe the person who's been jumped or been in fights in the past and have lost countless times to big guys. You see what I'm saying? So maybe that's what was going on here. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just painting the scenarios. You feel me? And we live in a completely different time now. Completely different time where kids are blasting each other now. Even the kids that are from freaking Frisco, okay, could be out here strapped, just walking around with the heater, without thinking twice, and this in their little man purses, in their damn the damn fanny packs. Okay, so again, I do find it weird that he's reaching in the bag and they didn't go like, yo, what the hell? What do you got in there, man? Because instantly I'm like, what you got, bro? What you got in there, man? What you got in that bag, right? Instantly, I'm doing that. Because we live in a time where kids are going into schools and so again, it just makes you wonder. But let's talk about this. We were going to talk about Eddie. So let's talk about Eddie real quick, shall we? I think Eddie did him dirty. Yes, I said it. Okay? I think Eddie did him dirty. Why? There are plenty of opportunities that Eddie could have said, hey, man, this my dude. We good, man. He could have easily said that, but he didn't now, did he? Instead, he allegedly pulled out his phone and started acting like, oh, okay, world star. Oh, snap. Oh, like that. Instead of actually just being like, yo, yeah, hey, leave my dog alone. This is my boy. This is my friend. I know him. We go back a little ways. He's cool. He's cool, Austin, Hunter. He's cool. He's with me. It's all good. He's cool. He didn't do that now, did he? Now, I'm not blaming it all on Eddie, but at the same time, here's the other thing too. Instead of, like, did you film anything? Were you told to delete it? He said he was acting like he was filming it. He said he was acting like he was filming it, allegedly. But he wasn't filming. But he was right there, watching this guy that he knows, that he's cool with, that he has multiple photos with, played basketball, known him, went on double dates and all that stuff. And now he acting like he brand new, like he ain't never seen this dude before. Now, here's the thing. Don't get at me. Don't get mad. I just want to point one thing out. But let me get this super chat here really quick. Shirley, thank you so much. Why didn't the defense pull up Hunter's interview when he said that both of him and Austin approached Karmelo when witnesses said different? Thank you. Like, again, there are things that are being said that there are things that are being said in interviews from the past, and then when we're coming here, we flash forward a year later, and they're saying something completely different. And of course, you got the defense being like, sir, you said in the paperwork this when you were interviewed an hour after Austin lost his life. And now you're singing a different tune. What's up with that? What's up with that? That seems weird, right? Let me point this out really quick. Eddie could have been more concerned. And don't at me. Don't get mad. I'm just asking a mother-loving question. Could it be that Eddie was intimidated by the Metcalf boys? That he was too busy wanting to look cool in front of his team, rather than just actually standing up and just simply saying, "Yo, this is my friend Karmelo. He cool. He cool. That's my boy. We're good." Was he worried about getting made fun of forever after that? You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they've made these kids say certain things that aren't true. Like they all came together like, we're just going to say that Hunter wasn't there. It was Austin, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then they all take the stand, and it's some things are contradicting what some of the witnesses said in written statements to the police. Could it be that they were coached? I don't know. And again, yeah, he might be a follower. Yeah, BB. That maybe this dude, this young kid, was too worried about, like, what kind of backlash he would get if he went up against the likes of Austin and Hunter. Remember this too, guys. Remember, in the mother-loving testimonies, a lot of these kids were like, he was like a brother to me. He told me I could do anything. He believed in me. Like, this was like this may be true. This may be true, but it's very interesting that this was like, Austin was like the the cat's pajamas. And how they describe him is like he was the brother I never had. You see what I'm saying? I ain't twisting nothing. You go to the testimonies and read them yourself. You will see in the testimonies, interesting, they're saying one thing here, but that they said something else when they were at the crime scene. Huh, that's weird. Why would Eddie be cool with him here at this moment and then seconds later act like he don't know Melo at all? That seems a little weird. That just seems a little weird to me. They all said the same doggone thing. And why the hell was Hunter not called to the stand? I find that weird too. Doesn't mean that Karmelo is guilty or not guilty. I'm just reading what we read and asking the doggone questions that I think that we all should be asking. What's up with that? Those things are weird. You see what I'm saying? No, I'm not a gang leader. It's just more like, he's like Austin, and Hunter may have just been the popular guys at school. And maybe, Eddie at that time, I don't know what was going on in Eddie's head. I can't defend him, and I can't vouch for him, and I can't explain why he made those decisions. But I instantly go, wait, what? Why would you not speak up on behalf of the friend that you know, the guy that you know, the guy that came over, dapped you up and sat right next to you and started chopping it up with you? It's not like this was some random stranger that said, hey man, can I borrow $5? No, he came over, he was chopping up with him. They were familiar. And then suddenly Hunter turns around and is like, what you doing here, man? Allegedly. And then Austin's like, yeah, man, who are you? Why are you over here, man? You're not supposed to be here. And instead of Eddie doing that, I think he got intimidated. Scared. Because he didn't want to get on the bad side of the Metcalf boys. And maybe the Metcalf boys are the popular guys in the school, the athletically gifted duo. You see what I'm saying? Austin Metcalf did have a big future ahead of him with football. Okay? He was talented. A talented athlete. He had a huge future coming for him. And you got to remember, let's not forget, Texas high school football is everything. It's like religion in some of these towns. So think about that too. Think about that too. I'm just asking the questions, y'all. I'm just asking the questions because some of those testimonies were fishy as all get out. I'll say that. But let's get back over to Neek at Night because I want to hear the rest of what she heard. Hold on. Like I said, I'm just asking questions, y'all. I'm just asking questions because we all are asking, okay? We are all asking the same doggone questions. Hold on. Got some super chats here really quick. Mitz, okay, if he quote unquote feared for his life, he would have walked away just how he was asked to leave multiple times as a matter of fact. That's the other thing too. And I will say this, you ain't wrong. He had the choice to leave too. Karmelo could have left. He could have easily just said, all right, man, hey, we good. All right, bye. But I think that there was a lot of ego going on here. There's a lot of ego, a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of like I said, we weren't there. We haven't seen the dialogue or seen the video at all, but I could see them, you know what I mean? Kind of like, the hell you doing here? Pfft, you don't own this bleacher. Now, do you? I can sit wherever the hell I want to sit. My name's Karmelo. In case y'all want to know what's the problem is, I can sit here if I want to. It's a free world now, isn't it? You know what I mean? Could be that. Then everything just escalated. And he's like, I'm not going to back down to this dude. He's on the opposing team. I don't want to come out like some kind of punk. I'm not going to shrink from this dude. Are you kidding me? Hell no. Hell no. But you touch me, you're going to find something. You're going to find out the hard way not to touch me, bro. That could be it. But that's not trying to prohibit or trying to stay away or get away from something that would be constitute as provoking something, for sure. If he said it like that. That's if he said it like that. But if Austin said, man, move before I beat your ass, that's another conversation in itself now, isn't it? Well, you're going to beat you touch me, you're going to find out. Hand in book bag. You see what I'm saying? Interesting. Tammy, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Hunter and Karmelo should have taken the stand. I agree. I think they should have. Now, I understand. When you have the person, the defendant take the stand, I want to keep it real. You are putting all the chips in. I'm going all in. F it. We're going all in, right? But if you're not having Hunter up there, go up, I mean, it would have been nice. It would have been good if he took the stand. I will say that. But let's see Nick at Night.
Then Melo was in the bleachers, but he was able to, like, from the 40-yard line, observe where Melo was, and things like that. And so, like, he said that he would, like, be looking over there, and he noticed, like, some movement and stuff like that. So then they wanted to know, like, well, was there a time where you noticed Karmelo under the memorial tent? And he said that he noticed him under the memorial tent closer to the top right. And then after that, he said he went to go test out his cleats because he had never did like a track meet before where rain was coming down. So he wanted to like test out his cleats and stuff. So then he said that underneath the tent that Melo was under, they wanted to know, like, was it super crowded? Was it medium crowded? And he said that it was medium full. He said that it was getting crowded, but it was still like room for people to get under there. And they wanted to know, like, well, what was your position? He said sometimes his position would be at the 40-yard line. Sometimes it would be at the 20-yard line. And so he was able to hear certain things. And they wanted to know what the mood was under the tent. And the mood basically was normal. So he said, like, when he first was looking up at the tent, the mood was like normal. It didn't really look like a lot was going on or whatever. But he said that it was like a normal mood. And then he said he was able to be close enough to where he was able to hear voices on the field. And that's basically what caught his attention. He said he looked back and he seen people like on the front row of the bleachers looking to the back. And that was kind of, that's something that he started to notice. He said that he saw a push and he saw arms like go out and make contact with Melo. He said there were people all around Melo. And he was wondering maybe like, is the interaction with them friendly or like, did something happen? He said that out of nowhere, like it got super loud and people stood up. And then he was like, whoa, like, wondering what was going on. And then he said at first it sounded like people might be laughing. And then that's when he saw the push, but he didn't see Melo stab anybody. He said that Austin, the next thing, they were like, okay, so like, what are the next things that you noticed? He said the next thing that he noticed was Austin pulled up his shirt saying that he got stabbed. He didn't know Austin at the time. He saw Melo do like a light jog going to the right of the bleachers. And then he saw Melo on the field. He said, so then they wanted to know basically what was his behavior when he was on the field after this situation had happened. And he basically said that Melo was crying. Like he was able to see that he was very emotional. And he said the best way that he can describe how Melo was that he was distraught. He said that basically like everybody was in that same like distraught mood. Then they wanted to know, like, what did he hear him say?
I know y'all know about Ronald Reagan.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but I got 10 more minutes. So if y'all in the chat can look at the time, let my uncle know when 10 minutes go by. So, because I got 10 more minutes.
So I think that.
All right. So after that, it was time for the prosecution to do cross. And basically what they tried to do was discredit the witness. They tried to basically say, well, you know that when we showed you the video about a few weeks ago, that when you thought that all of this stuff happened and when you thought you saw a movement, that wasn't until after the stabbing, it wasn't before. And then he was like, yes, he agreed that it was after. And then he wanted to know basically
Nobody wins in this.
that he got a few things wrong from his account and from what he had remembered. And then he said that in the detective's statement, you say Mello was normal. He said, yes, sir. He said, you say that you guys went to the dugout and they told you to leave. And then he was like, yes, sir. And then after they were in the dugout, he said that when the coach told you guys to leave, you left without a problem, right? And then he was like, yes, sir, or whatever. And then he said, you thought people were surrounding Mello, and but that was after the stabbing. And then they was like, well, do you want us to show you like where you were on the field when all of this happened? And he said that like they didn't really need to show him. But then the prosecution was kind of like pressing, and he was basically like, well, we can show you if you don't remember, or you want to like refresh your recollection and stuff like that. And so then they showed him a video where he was standing on the field, and while he was standing on the field, he basically was reminded that he was kind of like in the middle. So if you ever been to a football stadium and you see like there's like a center of the field, like there's like halfway between one side to the other, like he was in the kind of like the middle in the 40-yard line. And then you can see that the bleachers were kind of like a little bit away. And then he showed him how once he started to look back, it looked like it was after the stabbing. And he was like, well, the murder just happened right now, right? And that's when you look back, blah, blah, blah. So then after they did that, they bounced it back to the defense. And the defense said, well, you weren't in here when there was testimony that there was discrepancies with the timestamps, right? Like you weren't in here when there was testimony, and you haven't been looking at the testimony, so you wouldn't know that there was a discrepancy with the sync of the videos. And he was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't know that, or whatever like that. And then he was basically like, when you first talked to the detective, you said people formed a U around Mello. And then when you looked at the video, said that they formed an L. So when he said that, the prosecution argued that he was leading the witness, and he like put in like whatever motion or whatever. And then he said the tent that you said was medium full, and they said yes, sir. And it was like not like packed prior to the push, sitting under the tent. You saw people all around him under the tent. And then he said there were people walking by. There were people like, he was like describing what he saw, because he saw like people walking by, people like going around and stuff like that. And so they wanted to know again, like, okay, so right before the incident, like what was the mood? And he said that it was normal. And then he was like, let's see. He said, like you described everything to the best of your recollection. So then it was back to cross, and they wanted him to say again like where Mello was, and he said he was in the top corner. And when they showed the video of them running to show that it was synced up, so they showed him the video again, and they were like, well, this is synced up with the murder, blah blah. And then it went back to the defense, and then the defense was like, he tried to like say like it, like insinuate like it wasn't synced up or whatever. And so he said that it was like part of varsity, etc. So after that, they said it's time for the next witness. And then like one of the jurors was like raising his hand or whatever. And they had put like, they went on like a sidebar with the lawyers. And basically, the juror had 5 minutes to go to the restroom. We couldn't leave the courtroom. And then when we came back, it was Officer Riley. Now, Officer Riley, his name is Bo Riley. He's employed by the city of Frisco, and he serves as a detective in Crimes Against Children unit. He said at the time that the April 2nd incident happened, he was serving a search warrant on an individual that did a crime against a child. And he was told about the stabbing, so he headed to the stadium to interview some of the witnesses. And they wanted to know if one of the witnesses that he interviewed was a guy by the name of Eddie Parra. He said, yes, sir. It took place in the field house. That's where they did the interview, in the field house. And they wanted to know about the search that he did on Eddie's phone. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to the testimony of the witnesses, Eddie Parra testified that he lifted up his phone and he pretended to act like he was filming the video. And so they wanted to prove that, like, you guys did a search, but you didn't like forensically download it. So like if he prior deleted something, you guys didn't download his phone to actually get an accurate accounting of the content. That's kind of what they were trying to get everybody to understand.
And I think that's also interesting too. I'm gonna keep it real. I think it's interesting that he was like, yeah, we went through it thoroughly. We went into his deleted stuff, and then we went and did this, that, and third. And it's like, well, are you sure you went and did that? You sure you went thoroughly? Did you forensically go take his phone and take out that deleted video and then put it out? Right? And do we have, you know what I mean? If he actually did record a video of this altercation, because, you know, easily somebody could have gone up to him and been like, delete that right now. Please delete that. You're on our team, right? You got Austin's back, right? This dude killed our, you know, our brother, right? Our teammate, our friend. Delete it. You see what I'm saying? Could have been pressured by a whole bunch of kids. Possible, right? Very, very possible. I'm not saying that could be it, but I'm just saying it could very well be possible. I got an update though for you guys, and we got to talk about this. This is also very interesting. And just so y'all know, because I know a lot of us have been curious about, hey, you know, what's been going on? What's the possibilities of what actually happened during that break, right? Guess what? Karmelo Anthony refused to take the stand today. Breaking news, y'all. Breaking news. We now have an update. And maybe this is the reason why there was such a delay, because they may have been like, exactly what I said before. That maybe they're like, Karmelo, we need you to take the stand. And he's like, I ain't taking the stand. No, I'm good. No, I'm not taking the stand. Come on, Karmelo. Your life is on the line. Okay, we need you to, we've already talked about it. We've already coached you through how to answer these questions. You've got to take the stand. You have got to take the stand, son. So allegedly, he was supposed to take the stand, but he declined to. Karmelo Anthony refuses to take the stand. Defense rests in its case. The only other person that could have saved Karmelo's own booty. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the jury might find him not guilty. Okay, in the next couple days. But maybe they will. We don't know. But one thing is for sure. This is crazy and shocking. Karmelo Anthony's defense has rested its case after presenting just 6 witnesses in comparison to 21. Damn. After an extended lunch break, Karmelo Anthony opted not to take the stand in his own defense. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that you've heard all the evidence you're going to hear today, the judge said. Closing arguments will begin tomorrow morning, and the jury has been sequestered. meaning they will be isolated from the outside world and cut off from communication and media access. The jury will be sequestered until it reaches a verdict. Then they dismissed court for the day, and they will resume first thing tomorrow morning. So I may be flipping some things around for tomorrow morning so I can just cover this tomorrow morning. Of course, their closing arguments and everything, because I think this is going to be absolutely massive. But again, guys, now we're hearing this, that Karmelo Anthony actually did indeed have a possibility or have the chance to get on the stand and say his piece, speak his part, talk that talk, and he decided not to. Now, here's the thing. Anything's possible. To me, I feel like he's a little cooked here. But again, anything's possible. Was that the decision that just shot himself in the foot? Or is that a decision that actually saves him? We'll see. Now it's up to his team. It's up to his lead attorney to leave a very lasting and very convincing closing arguments that sits there and lingers, not only just on the jury's minds, but also on the jury's hearts. Let's not forget that. But they only had 6 witnesses, like half a day, y'all. We just had a half day in court. And now, tomorrow, closing arguments, and then they'll present it all to the jury. Is he cooked or no? I really did wish that he was going to take the stand. I really did, but it's not happening. Here's the other thing. If he is found guilty, let's just talk about that for a hot minute. I'm really hoping that the judge, I really do hope that the judge does find the right sentencing for him when it comes to what he has done. If he is found guilty. If he is found not guilty, we'll see how the world reacts. Very shocking stuff, guys. Very shocking day. I'm just going to refresh a few things really quick just to see if there's any more updates. Just to see if there's any more updates. But right now, hold on, let's see some here. We got some videos going on. Let's take a listen. The caption was, "Somebody's not happy." I'm wondering who that is.
All right, guys. Defense is rested. Jury's already gone home. We're right outside Collin County Courthouse. We're about to see what's going on. Closing arguments tomorrow. Should take roughly 3 hours. Yeah.
She cried. What the hell's going on?
Both sides have rested. They are working on the jury charge and the statements tomorrow. You said jury will be sequestered.
Yeah. Jury will be sequestered.
In other words, people can't go and bother them. That's the other reason why the jury's being sequestered, so that nobody can go and bother them. Okay?
For one day, y'all hear that? Yeah.
The judge said they can call it whatever time they want to, but they're going straight to a hotel. I know you're going to be here at 12. No, I ain't going to be back up there because I'm not going to deal with Jeff Metcalf and his racist ass shit. Bullying people out of their damn seats.
What? What's going on? What? Oh boy. Shirley, this is a way for the defense to file an appeal. It's got to be. I mean, let's be real. They're going to have some things that they can use as an appeal, but that's the thing. Will it be enough for the judge to be like, yeah, let's run it back? So we'll see. But remember, that's if the jury says that he's guilty. Remember that too. I know that the defense, the prosecution came in and dropped it like it's hot with a bunch of stuff, 21 particular, testimonies. But at the same time, you never know. Anything's possible. That you only need one juror to be like, that's self-defense. You never know, okay? But this lady's talking about Jeff Metcalf being a butthole. What?
I ain't gonna be back up here because I'm not gonna deal with Jeff Metcalf and his racist ass shit. Bullying people out of their damn seats. Bullying him and his family, bullied us out of our seat, which is the whole reason we're here in this trial. That's how this trial came to be, is because his kids are bullies and want to bully people out of their seat. And what did he do?
That's wild.
He turned around and sat and did it to all of us inside the courtroom and laughed about it. So where do you think his kids learn to be bullies at? Product of their environment. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, that's interesting. Now I want to hear the other side of the story. Now I want to hear the other side. Because is that true or no? Right? That's nuts. That's absolutely nutty. Hold on. We got another thing. I forgot this guy's name. The guy who's been a supporter of Karmelo since day one. I forgot his name. But that is a bit ironic. If what she said is true, and I'm not sitting here saying that she's lying. I'm just saying if what she says is true, and she was literally like bullied out of her seat. That's a bit ironic, don't you think? But it's ironical. But let's look at this too. I forgot this guy's name. No disrespect, but it's Dominique. Thank you. Yes, it's Dominique. I just don't remember the full name. But Dominique, apparently he had some things to say here too, which is new. I haven't seen this yet, so let's take a look.
We even have saw the white nationalist Jake Lang come out here and say insinuatory threats to the life of Karmelo Anthony, to hang from a tree, and even to allude that Karmelo Anthony should be shot in the head.
Well, here's the thing: we already know who Jake Lang is. Okay, we already know who he is. He's a piece of trash.
Our organization asked that the Collin County District Attorney's Office, as well as the Sheriff Department and the McKinney Police Department, open up a criminal investigation to those terroristic threats. There is no place for racism, bigotry, and white supremacy ideology in public. We even have saw.
Okay, so that's something I haven't seen yet. This particular video. So that's just news to me, unless this is something that he put up just the other day or did that a while ago. I haven't seen it. That was the first time I've ever seen that. Like I said, the coverage of this particular trial has been strange to say the least. But that is the show, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna try to see if I can move some things around to start a tiny bit earlier than I did today, but we'll see. Okay. If I end up going a little bit earlier tomorrow, I will put it in the community post or something like that and let you guys know when I'm about to go live and all that. Okay. Cause I'm a little busy. So I'm trying to move some things around schedule wise so I can be here for the closing arguments. And of course, be here for when the verdict is made. I mean, you never know. Shoot. The verdict could be made by end of day tomorrow, could be by end of day or by, the next day. God only knows, right? This could be a landslide very quick, or it could take a couple days. So we'll see what happens. But that is the show. Appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Please do me a favor before we get going. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Please hit that like button, please, and thank you. All right, I'm keeping an eye. If there's any updates, I'm going to let you guys know. Trust me. All right? Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Hit that follow button if you're watching on those other platforms. Subscribe here on my main channel, right here on my YouTube channel, The Pascal Show. Go to The Pascal Show Clips, my second channel. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out, man. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, we'll be talking here soon. I'm keeping an eye on everything, and if anything's popping off a little bit later on today, I'll be back on. But anyway, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another.